Ocracoke found its way onto the map in 1585 when Sir Walter Raleigh's colony, bound for Roanoke Island, collided with a sandbar out in Ocracoke Inlet. Ocracoke Island was not permanently settled until about 1750, and until then was a favorite hangout point for pirates such as Edward Teach, known as Blackbeard. Edward Teach frequented the North Carolina Outer Banks, specifically the Ocracoke area, and he had a favorite location that he liked to anchor his ships off the coast of Ocracoke, which was a deep water anchorage known as Teach's Hole. On the evening of November 21st, 1718, Lieutenant Maynard of the Royal Navy found Blackbeard and the pirates anchored on the opposite side of Ocracoke Island. However, Maynard was not familiar with the shallow waters and the shoals through the channel, and he waited till the following morning to make his attack on Blackbeard. Subsequently, Edward Teach was killed November 22, 1718, his head being severed and hung from the bowsprit of Lieutenant Maynard's ship so he could collect the reward. In the early days, Ocracoke was called Pilot Town, most likely because of the unnavigable waters in the inlet leading into the Pimlico Sound, and any inbound ships would have to pick up a pilot to make it through these shoals unscathed. Due to the shallow waters and the difficulty navigating the inlet, Ocracoke became a bustling town with the offloading and loading of goods from ships that couldn't make it through the inlet. Ships would anchor or dock at the town of Ocracoke and unload their goods, which would later be transferred to shallower draft boats. The shallower drafted boats could then move the goods from Ocracoke, or Pilot Town, to the inland ports. During the War of 1812, and again later during the American Civil War, a fort was constructed on Beacon Island, about a mile inside the inlet of Ocracoke. At its peak, the fort had nearly 500 troops garrisoned there. On May 12, 1942, a converted British trawler named the Bedfordshire was torpedoed by a German U-boat. The 34-man crew was lost in the aftermath, and over the next 4 days, British sailors washed ashore in Ocracoke. 4 of the British sailors that were recovered were later buried in a British cemetery on the edge of town. A 5th British sailor later washed ashore up near Buxton and was later buried in the local cemetery up there. There are even wild ponies in the Outer Banks known as banker ponies, and the legend has it they were left behind by early European explorers or thrown overboard by the same explorers when their ships ran aground in an effort to try to refloat the ships. Ponies have been documented on the Outer Banks as early as the 1730s, and they have a long history of helping to serve the communities of the people that live there. This included everything from hauling freight by pulling wagons, to helping haul equipment from shipwreck sites, to the U.S. Life-Saving Service saddling the horses and using them to patrol the beaches during World War I and World War II. Today, the ponies live on a 180-acre preserve on the Outer Banks, Ocracoke Island.